This is my third time trying to record this video. I just feel like I have so many thoughts and I'm trying to get it out the right way. It's been over a week since I smoked weed. It's been about 8 days now. And I feel great. It was easier than I thought it was going to be, and it was harder than I thought it was going to be. The first 2 or 3 days, I kept hearing that the first 2 or 3 days is the hardest part. And that was absolutely correct. I feel like the hardest moments were when I was bored. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about cannabis. I learned that I was not nearly as dependent on it as I thought I was. I learned that marijuana is really not addictive like that. And my dependency, the little that I had, or whatever, however much I had, one, it was not my biggest issue, and it wasn't the issue that needed solving. But two, whatever dependency was there was gone in the 2 days, 3 days, maybe, if that. And it wasn't even like a dependency. It was like almost like it was a habit out of boredom, because I wasn't as comfortable in my own skin, if that makes sense. Like I said, my thoughts are kind of like, I have so many thoughts, and I'm trying to wrap this up in a good way to where that'll make sense. But I legitimately feel like I learned that I'm way stronger than I thought I was. Much, much stronger than I thought I was. And smoking weed was definitely holding me back from reaching my full potential as far as mental strength goes. You know, it does help in some ways, but I think it only helps if you treat it the right way and you're not just abusing it, that's what I was doing. I was smoking when I didn't even need to fucking smoke. I was already high and I just kept smoking because it was just there. It was like I felt like I was a baby sucking on a pacifier. That's legitimately what it was. And I learned that I enjoy being sober. I enjoyed feeling smarter and being more articulate and my memory being better. And it was like I was able to feel deeper emotion than I've felt in a very long time. Like, I've been telling my wife that I know that it's coming, but I need, in the past few weeks, I feel like I needed a moment where I just fucking cried and bawled my eyes out. And as lame as that might sound, I did, and I did need it, and it did happen. It required me to get extremely drunk, probably the most drunk I've been in a long time. And being that drunk and not smoking weed made me so vulnerable, and it opened myself up to myself and to other people in a way that was probably very sloppy and ugly looking, but allowed me to release a lot of emotion and thoughts and say things I never thought I would, just to people I never thought I'd say them to. I enjoyed the sober mind so much that I have legitimately been considering not smoking for longer than a week. But honestly, after the first few days, I felt like I could smoke, and after the first few days, I lost my dependency on it completely. It was no longer a crutch. It was no longer something that I kept thinking about or wanted to do. I honestly kind of just said I didn't even give a shit. Like, it was after the first few days, I really just didn't even care. It wasn't even an issue. I missed it like you miss like playing basketball or your favorite video game or something like that. But I didn't it wasn't on my mind constantly like the first couple days. And I know that I had beat that crutch. I beat the dependency, and it showed me like, damn, marijuana is really not as addictive as some may think it is. I think people, and myself included, tend to wrap up their mental issues and their issues that they're dealing with in their life. They tend to blame it on weed. And that's a smart way of thinking. Absolutely. If you become dependent on smoking weed, that is an issue. And I feel like it's much, much harder, damn near impossible, to deal with the actual issue when you're smoking weed constantly, because Weed alleviates that issue. It makes it go away for a sec, temporarily though. It doesn't fix the issue. It does make it go away though. And it's like, I learned that I'm stronger than I thought I was. I'm smarter than I thought I was. I can deal with things on my own. And it just made me really proud of myself. This last week made me very, very proud of myself. It also made me fearful to go back to that state of mind. And that's a big reason why I've been tweeting and everything else. Like, would you guys hate me if I stopped smoking weed? Like, I think I might take longer than a week. That was out of fear of smoking weed and going back into those bad patterns. But as time went on, like I'm not afraid of that anymore. I'm not afraid because I'm stronger than that. And I've learned these new coping mechanisms and these new ways of dealing with shit. And I'm not afraid of it. I can smoke weed here and there. And I'm not going to smoke like I used to. Absolutely not. I don't even want to. But I'm not afraid anymore. Like I dealt with such stressful situations this week. I never thought I'd be able to do without smoking. And it was insane. Like I went and worked at I DJ'd this birthday party. Some of the most anxious, nervous, things you could do. Meeting somebody, going to a house you don't know who they are. Met on, I think they hit me up from Craigslist. You don't know who's there, blah, 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 things like that. Getting song requests. It's a very, stressful job at times, especially when you don't know the people. And I did that, and I felt anxiety on the way there and nervousness, but it was like I dealt with it. And if I had been smoking, I feel like it would have almost made that anxiousness and nervousness last longer because I wouldn't be able to deal with it. It was like I would smoke weed and then I'd be high for 45 minutes, whatever. And then I'd still be at the party dealing with it. And it would be like I didn't fix it. I just fucking shut it off, or if that makes sense. Like I said, this is my third time trying to talk about this, and I'm real. I know I'm not really making sense. I hope I am, but yeah. It was a big eye opener for me in many different ways. I learned a lot. I feel like I learned so much this past week about myself, about other things. And I'm just happy. I'm proud. And it was really nice to see you guys. There's so many of you guys that don't smoke weed or don't do drugs or who are going through similar issues as I am. And it was so beautiful to see. And I want to say thank you to you guys because I can't tell you how big of a deal it was to read your stories and just what you guys are dealing with. And I just want, so thank you so much for real, because I really feel like there's a community here, like a family here, and it's beautiful. I love it. If I keep talking, I'm just going to talk myself into circles. This is like my third time trying to end this fucking video too already in this video. Anyways, if I keep talking, I'm going to talk myself into circles. Because there's so many thoughts I'm having, and it's whatever. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought I was. That I have the ability to deal with shit on my own without having to smoke weed. And I also learned a lot about marijuana dependency in the sense that it is a thing. It's absolutely a thing. But it's not nearly impossible to get through it. And and for people who have the will and the strength and the mental aptitude to do it. See, I would never say aptitude if I was smoking weed. It's beautiful. People who have the mental aptitude to do it, I hope I'm using that word right. You can do it. You can do it. And I think that a big reason why I've been considering, taking longer off, past a week and everything else was out of fear. I didn't want to, I was afraid to go back to that bullshit. But I don't know. I just don't have that fear anymore. I know I'm strong. I believe in myself now. And I've learned new coping mechanisms and ways to deal with things. And it's I'm just in such a better place now. And it's only been a week. And this was one of the best things I could have possibly done for myself. And I'm not saying that I'm going to go back to smoking weed every day and that's all I want to be about. Not at all. But I am going to smoke some weed tonight. And I'm excited. But I'm going to roll me a blunt, and that's going to be that. And, you know, I got myself a little part-time job this last week too, because that was one of the things that I would do when I was like feeling real down. I would just be like, fuck this, man. I'm going to find me a job. And I found me a perfect little part-time job at working nights. So I'm really happy about that. Anyways, I'm literally talking myself in circles, just like I said I didn't want to. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all your kind words. Thank you so much for all your stories. And I just want to commend you all for all your achievements and all the things that you guys are doing. And just because I'm smoking weed doesn't mean that you need to or should. That is, you know, everybody's different. I encourage you to do whatever you feel is right for you. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm going to smoke some weed tonight though, and I'm going to live stream with you guys and roll a blunt. So turn the notifications on, probably like around 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll be live and we'll roll a blunt and chill and talk, and I'll see you guys tonight. Thank you. Peace.